wasn't meant for this to be all Christmas themed, but the way that this is all panned out, it kind of looks a little Christmassy. There's like some cool little light effects happening here, but I digress. Welcome to Virtually Vintage, where we dig into the archives of VR to see if we can find some of our hidden gems that may have just been long lost beauties in the wild. Is this the best game of 2017? Yes, you heard that right. It's 2017. It's not 2017. I just finished my playthrough of what I think is officially one of my favorite games, called Wilson's Heart, a noir-style puzzle escape room-esque game from 2017 from Oculus Studios and Twisted Pixel Studios. You play as Wilson, who recently wakes up in a hospital. Again, the whole space is black and white, and your heart is missing and replaced with this really cool device.
I'm a patient and I'm injured. I could use some help here.
I won't go into too many spoilers, but I will say that you then begin to embark on a really dope journey trying to figure out why you're there, how to escape, and you kind of meet this weird cast of bandits. Is that what it's called? Along the way to help you and them escape from the hospital. We'll go through a few categories today. The first, graphics. How well does this thing look? How does it hold up in the current gen tech? The second, controls and accessibility. And then the third, interactivity. In terms of graphics, outside of the fact that this whole game is played in black and white, the graphics of this game are a 10 out of 10. I kid you not. When you slip on the hands, I know that was weird. I practiced that too. Slip on the hands of Wilson, or what is it? You put on the shoes? You don't put in shoes in VR. So even though it was done all in black and white, everything popped on the Quest 3 with those beautiful pancake lenses. I mean, wow. I did not even want to leave the world. I wanted to keep playing every time I put it on. The details really popped, the contrasts really popped, the shadows and all of the intricate nature of all of the different assets in the game, stunning, absolutely stunning. Now, let's talk a little bit about controls and accessibility. And I think this is probably where the game aged or showed its age a little bit.
It's been 84 years.
I noticed that when you put on the headset and you were trying to go through the settings, there were a few things that I normally love to change when I pop into VR for the first time. One of those being the subtitles. I'm one of those that watches TV and movies, if I can, with subtitles, so don't at me. The other thing that was missing were some of the movement settings, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. In the game, the way you move around is to very specific set pieces. It's very different than some of the games that we play now, where you have free movement or you have teleport to where you want to go. In this game, you actually have to go to very specific portions of the area in order to help you solve those little mini puzzles that will then help you solve the larger puzzle. When you first put on a headset, it feels as though it's looking for you to set up a room scale space. And I know that nowadays we don't really require that from a lot of our VR games. So to kind of go back to that standard felt a little bit jarring. However, I was able to tweak some settings to allow me to maneuver that while streaming. I primarily streamed this game on Twitch, and because of that, I really didn't have a camera setup that allowed me to move around my apartment. So I had to find the right settings that allowed me to stay put while still experiencing the game. And then lastly, let's talk about interactivity. What's special about Wilson's Heart is that this game came out right after the launch of the original Oculus Touch Controllers in around 2017. Before that, the Rift CV1 shipped with an Xbox controller. So the Touch Controllers helped define a new era of VR, so to speak, and a new era of interactivity. And Wilson's Heart, I've learned recently, was built as a prototype where the developers at Twisted Pixel Studio were prototyping the new touch controllers, and they called this game Hands. And later, Hands became Wilson's Heart. To quote CEO Bill Moole, sorry, we had been developing an internal prototype at Twisted Pixel that we referred to as the Hands game. It was the first action thriller that emphasized high-quality hand animations. We had been experimenting with traditional controllers, but it felt a bit abstract. Once we tried the touch controller prototypes, suddenly all those restrictions were gone. The prototype ended up being our first game, Wilson's Heart on the Rift. So as we think about interactivity, I have that in mind. And in all the VR games that I've played over the last few years, I'm always asking very specific questions that start with, can I? Can I pick this up? Can I move this? Can I throw it? Can I climb? Can I open this? Can I interact with this thing in a meaningful way? And in this game, the 6-year-old game, the answer was yes. While the movement was limited, the interactivity was stellar, right? Obviously, you moved to very specific set pieces that had little mini puzzles, and one of my favorite parts of interactivity in this game included being able to learn some of the lore of the characters through comic books that were kind of spread out through the environment. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and even some of the subtleties of having the hand gestures and the hand poses change to indicate to the player what they're about to do or what they can do in the environment was a huge help. So does this game hold up 6 years later? And the answer is a resounding absolutely. You need to run, do not walk to play this game. If you're looking to find something to test this baby out for PC VR, find Wilson's Heart. You will not regret it. I loved every single moment of that game, and I'm probably gonna boot it back up again just to see if I missed anything. So let me know what you think about this series. I'm hoping that this can reinvigorate people's desire for more PC VR games, play some games that may not have been on top of everyone's radar, things that aren't Beat Saber. Sorry, Beat Saber. But I'm hoping that this is going to allow me to play some of the classics, allow some of the new folks who jump into VR, kind of go back into the backlogs, go into the depths, go into the closets, do some shopping in your own closet, so to speak, and really re-enjoy the wonder that is PC VR. Make sure you drop a comment, a like, subscribe. Would love to get to know you. If there are games that you're like, Clay, you should totally play this. This was one of my favorites from 2017, 2018, 2019. Let me know, drop it in the comments, and I'll add it to the list. Thanks for popping in today. Later. I think I'm gonna call this thing like virtually I couldn't figure it out. Virtually vintage? Is that what I have it? Where we dig through the old, dusty old closet of virtual reality games to find our hidden gems. Something like that. I wrote that weirdly, and don't worry about it. But, and so given that, I had to make some adjustments, and I have to go back and research exactly what those adjustments are.